Cinemania Field Report. Escape from New York. It's 1976 and the world is falling apart. War in the news, crime on the streets. After Watergate, even the government seems to be run by crooks. In New York City, that year alone, felony rates broke all records. The criminals were running the whole circus. You wouldn't blame a guy for wanting to escape. Young writer and wannabe director John Carpenter was in the middle of it, and he sat down to write about where things might be going. It wasn't until he had hit the big leagues with the release of Halloween in 1978 that he had the financial backing and the movie muscle to get his vision of the future made. It's 1981, and John Carpenter releases Escape from New York, pouring all of that cynicism and violence into one filthy, neon-drenched science fiction howl of rage. The movie turned out to be a chilling vision of the future that seemed to be arriving any day now. It was bleak and uncompromising. It had violent criminals, a cowardly president, and the military-industrial complex built to protect him. A city turned into a gigantic prison. It had a synth soundtrack that blew minds, and it had a dude with a badass eye patch called Snake. It is the near future of 1988. The crime rate in the United States rises 400%. The once great city of New York becomes the one maximum security prison for the entire country. A 50-foot containment wall is erected along the New Jersey shoreline across the Harlem River and down along the Brooklyn shoreline. It completely surrounds Manhattan Island. All bridges and waterways are mined. The United States police force, like an army, is encamped around the island. There are no guards inside the prison, only prisoners and the worlds they have made. The rules are simple. Once you go in, you don't come out. It's the even more futuristic year of 1997. Now! The story was brutal, elegant, and simple. Air Force One has been hijacked and crashed into the prison of New York. The president is being held captive by the head of the prison gangs, a man known simply as the Duke of New York. There's a ticking clock on getting the president back for a crucial summit meeting in 24 hours. The warden of NYC prison, Bob Hulk, played by Lee Van Cleef, has to take immediate action. He needs to send someone into the prison to get the president. Luckily, the right man has just walked into processing, ready to be sent to the island. His name is Snake Plissken, but you can call him Snake. He is an ex-Green Beret turned cynical criminal. Snake is the trope of every anti-hero fantasy. He sounds like Clint Eastwood. He dresses like he robbed a military surplus store, and he looks like a gritty Kurt Russell with an eye patch. And he's fantastic. Kurt Russell completely rebranded himself with this role. He went from a Disney kid to badass action star of the 80s in this one film and without blinking. Actually, it's hard to tell if he was blinking because of the eye patch. Maybe he was winking the whole time. New York City has always been a place on the brink. A Dutch colony frantically clinging on through wars and economic collapse, then a British possession reinventing itself through wars and revolution, then a revolutionary hub of the counterculture filled with radicals, deadheads, and doped-up hippie freaks. New York is constantly on the move towards something else, and constantly lamenting the fact that the old is crumbling away once again to make way for something new to become the new old and crumble away in turn. The New York of John Carpenter has reached the end of the line. Things have gotten so bad there's no way back, and this is it. New York isn't reinventing anything anymore. It's where you put people when you want to get rid of them. In the 70s and 80s, the idea of New York as a crime-riddled cesspit was everywhere, and John Carpenter was just saying what everyone was thinking. If things go on like this, it's all going to go tits up 3 ways from Tuesday. The film builds a world that is horrific and fascinating. You only see glimpses of the world outside of the prison of New York, but that's not what this is all about. All we see is enough to make it clear that shit has gone seriously wrong in the good old USA, But really, the city is the star here. Carpenter actually shot the film using dilapidated sections of East St. Louis's urban decay as the background, which gives the world an authenticity that would be hard to pull off even today. If you wanted to make a movie showing how bad things really used to be in some parts of America in some parts of the 80s, you'd have to build it from scratch. Back then, all they had to do was wait till nightfall and hope no curious denizens came to see what they were up to. The result is a very fleshed out world. Then there's the cast. The performances in this film are top-notch. Donald Pleasance's president is shifty and slimy as a president can get, someone who sacrifices others for his survival without a second thought. Pleasance was the ambiguous and difficult Dr. Loomis in Halloween. In that movie, he just wanted to put a bullet in the skull of his patient because he was pretty sure modern medicine wasn't up to the job. In Escape from New York, he's far less civic-minded. The president is just a stuffed shirt who you couldn't trust to sell you a used car. He's the kind of guy who would assure you that he is definitely not a crook. The supporting cast is a cavalcade of amazing 80s character actors, with Ernest Borgnine as a crazy cab driver, Harry Dean Stanton as a self-serving prison scientist known as Brain, and his tough-as-nails girlfriend Maggie, played by John Carpenter's then-wife, the amazing Adrienne Barbeau. And then there is Isaac Hayes as the Duke of New York. Hayes drips malice in his performance and lets you know why he's number one in this hellhole of a city. This is the guy who sang Shaft. He knows what makes a bad motherfucker. Watching Snake navigate the hellscape of post-apocalyptic New York past gangs of cannibal crazies, the Duke's guys, all the while the countdown going on in the background, makes the action and pacing of this movie tense as hell. Just as Halloween laid down the template of a horror slasher film, Escape from New York wrote the book on Special Forces action. You need a ticking clock, you need a world on the brink, and you need a guy on the inside who is the only one capable of getting the job done. I could have described a dozen lesser movies with that sentence, but this was the big daddy of the bunch. That's why it holds up so well. Hollywood has spent millions trying to outdo what John Carpenter achieved with duct tape, bad lighting, and a Disney kid with something to prove. In the end, well, I won't spoil it, but suffice to say, no one encounters Snake Plissken and walks away unchanged by the experience. As for Snake himself, who knows what becomes of a man like that? Don't worry about the somewhat lesser and cringeworthy sequel. Let Snake walk off into the night and become a legend. One night's work, one job, and that's it. The clue is in the name. It's Escape from New York, not let's really dig into the character or a roided-out cyclopean murder machine after he has quite a night on the town. Back then, it seemed like New York was a few decades away from complete collapse. Organized crime, political corruption, and urban decay were going to swallow it. But, of course, things didn't quite work out that way. Remarkably, the town managed to reinvent itself yet again. New York became coffee shops, big money, good hair, Ross and Rachel. New York isn't somewhere you escape from anymore, unless it's for a weekend break with the family. We won't be going back to the way things were again. Probably. And that's for the best. There's no sign of cannibals on Main Street or a maniacal duke tearing up Broadway. Perhaps the president should still stay away, but that's another matter entirely. Maybe the old town has softened a little in its old age. Maybe it lost its teeth. But then again, one day, just maybe, we'll need to send in the snake. Cinemania Field Reports are a product of the Cinemania Society. Available wherever you might find fine podcasts. This report written by Zacharia Berks and Andy Slack and performed by Andy Slack. Music by Carl Casey at White Bat Audio.